Some houses are forgotten with time, but some secrets refuse to stay buried. Today, we unravel the chilling story of the Crandall house, a quiet, abandoned home hiding a horrifying ledger of the dead. What begins as a simple curiosity for contractors soon leads to a discovery that shakes an entire town. Skeletons hidden beneath the floorboards, a meticulous map of graves, and the dark obsession of one woman. This is a story of mystery, crime, and secrets that refuse to remain silent. Welcome to a tale where the past never truly dies, and the truth is far darker than anyone imagined. It started like most stories of old houses do, with a quiet curiosity. When contractors first stepped into the faded sunlight of the Crandall house, they didn't expect history to be hiding in the walls. The house had sat empty for decades on the outskirts of town, perched on a hill where the wind carried whispers of the past. Local kids called it the widow's house, after Margaret Crandall, who had lived there alone for more than 30 years after her husband vanished without a trace in 1947. By the time the contractors arrived, the town had almost forgotten the house entirely. But history has a way of clawing its way back. In the master bedroom, under floorboards that had buckled from age, a worker found it, a folded, yellowed piece of paper. At first glance, it seemed like a simple sketch, but careful inspection revealed a map, drawn with precision. Small markings, faded ink, subtle annotations, it wasn't just a map. It was something else entirely. The sheriff arrived soon after. Margaret had died quietly in her sleep in 1982, leaving no will, no children, and no known relatives. The house had been abandoned ever since, slowly succumbing to rot and neglect. Investigators assumed the map might lead to hidden valuables, old coins, jewelry, perhaps even a family inheritance. They weren't prepared for what it actually revealed. The first X on the map pointed to a grove of oak trees behind the house. The investigators dug at one of the marked spots, expecting treasure, and instead struck bone. At first, they considered animals, but the shape and structure were unmistakable. Human. As they dug further, more skeletons emerged. The map had not led to gold or heirlooms. It led to graves, dozens of them, all carefully placed, all deliberately hidden. Each X was a resting place. The annotations in the margins, tiny, almost invisible letters, seemed to correspond to the names of the missing. The town was riveted. How could one woman, living quietly in a crumbling house, manage this without anyone noticing? Who were these people? Investigators began tracing missing persons reports, old deeds, letters, even faded newspaper clippings. Margaret's husband Thomas was among them, but others were tenants, neighbors, or strangers who had drifted through town. Some skeletons bore signs of trauma, fractures, blunt force injuries, while others appeared deliberately preserved and carefully buried. This was methodical, precise, and chilling. The map, forensic experts determined, had been created over decades. Margaret had added each new grave as time passed, documenting the dead with obsessive care. It was a ledger of mortality, a record that combined geography with memory. Each mark on the page told a story of disappearance, of lives that vanished from the town, some violently, some quietly. When her diaries were discovered hidden in a secret compartment behind the fireplace, her motivations became both clearer and more perplexing. The entries began innocuously, notes about the weather, local markets, neighbors, but gradually grew darker. Margaret wrote of vanishings, of chance encounters, and her growing compulsion to catalogue every departure. She seemed to believe that recording these resting places brought order to the chaos of life and death. Criminologists debated her role. Was she a serial killer? A keeper of records? A woman whose obsession had crossed an unfathomable line? Some remains suggested foul play, others seemed natural. The ambiguity only deepened the mystery, leaving the town and investigators grappling with questions that had no easy answers. Journalists scoured the area. Older residents remembered glimpses of Margaret wandering the woods, sometimes leading strangers toward the house. No one could recall any leaving willingly. Each anecdote, small as it was, stitched together a portrait of a woman whose life was inseparable from the land, the dead, and the meticulous ledger she kept. By the time the last grave was uncovered, the map had revealed nearly 30 burial sites. Some skeletons were identified through DNA, many were not. The house, once a symbol of solitude, had become a mausoleum of hidden histories, a grim testament to what can remain concealed beneath ordinary surfaces. As the sun set over the property, the wind rustled through the oaks, carrying with it the faintest whisper of pen on paper, the echo of a life spent in quiet, grim devotion. The map now rests behind glass in a local museum, a haunting reminder that curiosity can lead to discovery, and that sometimes the truths we uncover are darker than anything we imagined. Late at night, some claim they see a figure moving among the shadows of the trees, tracing invisible lines, as if the catalogue of the dead were never complete. Because in the end, maps don't always lead to treasure. Sometimes, they lead to the resting places of secrets long buried, waiting, patiently, to be found.